All right, take two of starting.
What do you mean take two? This is all part of one episode.
Oh yeah.
There's no cuts here.
Well, I've realized I picked another bad time to start because I just should have let that be done. But whatever. Take two for starting.
Take three.
Take three for starting. Welcome back, everyone. It's been a minute. We decided to start doing every other week to make it agree with our schedules more, because I've been doing a lot for work because it's this time where we do all of our end of year, which is busy.
How many birds do you think she ate?
These aren't outdoor cats. Those are
Yeah, he that guy can't get a bird to save his life. He's just not really smart enough. He just kind of looks at them and like stands up.
Yeah.
She tries to be sneaky, but they don't really disguise well. As well as wrong country, I guess.
This cat meows a lot.
She does.
Adorable.
Well, she always fakes being hungry.
Yeah.
I'll
Classic.
feed her and she'll be faking being hungry 10 minutes later. It's kind of absurd.
But she's adorable.
She is adorable, and I've given her a lot of talks on like building trustful friendships, and that I don't trust her anymore. So we've had times where we've accidentally not fed her because we assume that she's lying, and she's not. Like she's the girl who cried wolf.
Yeah.
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 You know? But anyways, it's been a long time. We did record a full episode. It took us a while to coordinate recording together.
I think that was the best episode in the history of podcasting.
Probably.
Probably.
It's a shame you guys will never hear it. We started recording it at like 11 p.m. and we stayed up until like 1 a.m. just getting through everything. I had like a huge piece on... What even did I talk about?
Cybertrucks?
I talked about Cybertrucks.
Oh, you had a rant about China.
Oh, yeah. I had a huge piece about the China tariffs.
Don't worry, China heads. He was happy with China.
Yeah, I was loving China. I was feeling them up. And Shrey had a big piece about the politics scene in BC and how it's gone tits up, so to say. And it was just a lot of actual info in there. And then the problem was I tried a new service to record, and everyone I saw was like, oh, Zencaster, it just works. You know, it's one of those things that just works. I was getting pretty pissed off on, I think I was on Riverside, and their editor is just kind of lame, and I ended up just using it to record and then still editing everything manually. And then I went to Zencaster, we recorded one thing, and just nothing worked. It all broke, everything just sucked, so there's an episode gone.
Truly something equivalent to the burning of Alexandria, I think.
Yeah, that
one.
Sack of Baghdad by the Mongols,
Yeah.
too.
Just combined.
Yeah, I know that
Fall of Rome.
Canada was on the edge of their seats waiting for this episode, and it actually might just cause the end of Canada as we know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2034, right?
Mm-hmm. I think because that episode is missing, the NDP are going to lose the next election.
Well, I don't think that was why.
And I think that's the only reason the NDP will lose the next election.
True.
Yeah, we're back in very slow-paced action, I guess. But I have to talk faster. Holy shit! I was like, well, I do the editing, and I'm sorry, guys. I'm falling asleep listening to my own voice. I speak like I'm in slow-mo. A couple times I did actually speed up my voice, just because it was so tedious.
I thought that was for the podcast.
You should speed up your voice like 3 times, so it's all squeaky. Like, welcome to 39 Canada. Right? And then in the video you've got the thumbnail and the title and stuff, and then the bottom half of the video it's like Subway Surfers.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I could make some slop content if
I think we should.
Well, I've learned, as I was opening this, that apparently Microsoft has editing tools called Clipchamp. So that's where I'm going to edit this episode. If it sucks, guys, blame Microsoft, not me.
I'll already blame Microsoft.
Yeah.
Regardless of how
I've been doing all this shit on Linux, and every problem was still Microsoft. I gotta say, going back to Windows, it is absurd how much Windows as an operating system feels like a virus.
How unsmooth and hard to do anything it is.
Yeah, it's like everything is constantly janky. Even right now, like the icons in my dock are not all showing up. Some of them are just blank. I know they're there. Shit just opens when I turn on my computer. There's tons of pop-ups left and right. Like, it's actually crazy how at this point the free operating systems genuinely offer, like, a smoother, better experience.
At the very least, if you don't like something that the free operating systems are doing, you don't have to learn how to edit registry keys.
Yeah.
Which is the most annoying system for settings.
Yeah.
Of any computer ever.
Someone recommended me a podcast on like just like how some companies started, so I was curious. And Bill Gates, that guy, he had just everything perfect for him.
Yeah.
Growing up, like
he
was like the kid of a really rich lawyer, and his mom was like on the board of half the companies in Seattle. He was at the age of 13. He got to work with his first computer in the 1960s.
Yeah, holy fuck.
Right? Like that guy had everything going for him.
It really, actually, this is a big thing that I loved in a Mark Fisher book, and he was trying to address the whole like struggle breeds creativity thing, and he was just like, if that was the case, just listen to the fucking Beatles, man. Like when those guys stopped struggling, they instantly became way more creative, probably because they knew they could back up onto like their old shit if they needed to. So they started making weirder and weirder music, which was their more groundbreaking music. But crazy how all the rich guys kind of had all the shit going
already
for them.
rich.
Yeah.
Before they became rich.
He went to a college prep school and middle school, of all things, and then he made his first software at 13, which is impressive. Yeah. But you can only make your first software when you have a computer at that age.
Yeah. And like some level of training for it, generally speaking. Well, I guess that's early enough where everyone could just make shit up. But it was also like much harder to do.
He apparently gave an interview and he was like, "Yeah, life at my home was wild, man. You know, at the age of 9 and 10, I remember governors and CEOs and senators just having dinner with us, and just I'm absorbing knowledge."
What did his parents do?
His
And yet he still got divorced.
Did Bill Gates get divorced? I thought it was Jeff Bezos.
No, both of them. Oh. Around the same time, actually.
I mean,
Bill Gates had a different thing. He went to an island in the Caribbean, but Jeff Bezos had a different reason for divorce.
Where was Little St. James again?
The Caribbean.
Is that the island?
It was the island.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad I had that shit unlocked.
Yeah. On the flight logs was Jeff Bezos.
I don't think he was.
I think he broke up with his wife to be with a
he was cheating on his wife at the time. But Bill, with Bill, what was the question?
Why he's a divorced
No,
bitch.
not that one.
No.
Oh, what his parents do?
What did his parents do?
His dad was one of the top lawyers in the Pacific Northwest. Okay. His grandfather, you know Wells Fargo?
Yeah.
Wells Fargo bought a bank called Interstate, which is a huge part of Wells Fargo. His grandfather was one of the executives of that bank. Okay. And his mom was on the board of like half the companies in Seattle, including I think it was IBM or something like that, or Intel, one of the big ones.
I do find it funny.
And he pulled himself up by his bootstraps, built his company out of his garage.
Truly built something. Yeah. Which was
out of nothing.
Yeah. And it's good for the world.
And it's good for the world. Look, everyone knows that billionaires aren't great, but if you're gonna have a billionaire, you want Bill Gates. Someone told me that shit 2 days ago.
Really?
I've heard it it's very fresh.
Listen, he's sort of like a homespun country.
Really? Mm-hmm. I've heard of all the COVID things, like Bill Gates is evil, he's tracking us. Like, I've heard that.
He's also like a homespun country boy. He owns the most farmland of any individual in the United States.
Maoism. He's the agrarian guy. He's our guy.
Yeah, Bill Gates, big with Castro.
Yeah.
I think.
Just crazy.
But I do know also, like, Bezos is another story of, like, oh, we totally built it out of our garage. But if I remember correctly, he was, like, a Wall Street guy.
Yeah, he was a Wall Street guy.
And he, like, left that and then just instantly got a bunch of Wall Street investment, probably because they knew what they were getting into was just something that will be immoral and therefore incredibly effective in the capitalist world, you know? And what do you know? It was.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair to Jeff Bezos, he seemed to have actually a rough, like, home life as a child. Mm-hmm. He was born to a 17-year-old high school student. His father was a professional unicyclist.
Wait, your kid.
Holy
your
shit.
Kid could be
I'm set up to make the next Jeff Bezos, guys.
Easy to find. Never mind. Actually, we don't want to.
Oh, we can expose me for having a turbocharged unicycle.
No, I was going to say, all you do is find a 17-year-old, but I realize it's not.
Oh. I'll cut that out. I'll cut my extra thoughts out. Honestly, at this point, like, anyone below the age of 21, I'm like, you're an actual child.
Yeah. No,
and
I
I
agree.
look back at, like, my life with, like, having, like, girlfriends and all of that were dating, like, 25-year-old guys. And I, like,
It's crazy.
I knew it was odd before, but I look back at it now, like, Jesus Christ.
Right? Like, I know people who are, like, I know gals who are, 22, 23 dating, like, 30-year-olds. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Like, this is... What?
Yeah. Honestly, my thing, when you're in your 20s, it's just the fucking wild, wild west out there. You know, it is what it is. Because the thing is like, it all depends on your phase of life. You know, if you're in university, chances are you're dating someone around university or the town or something like that. When you're in the career, the age gap just jumps a lot because you're bumping into people of all
like, these are
different
uni
ages.
people I'm talking about.
But still,
That's
like, 20 to 30 is, like, it's a big jump, especially just maturity.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with a 20-year-old. You know, they got shit to figure out. I guess so do I. What can I say?
Well,
shit to figure out. I got to figure out how to grow this damn podcast. I got to figure out how to record this damn podcast.
Use Microsoft is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
We are
Bill
big
Gates.
endorsers.
Bill Gates has come down. He saw my frustrations with all my recording stuff, and he sent his hand out and gave me Clip Champ. And he said, he addressed it, Spencer, this is for you. Build the next Jeff Bezos.
You
The
can't
wealth
see
has
it.
trickled down success.
This is an audio medium. It's not a video medium, but Uncle right here is clip champing as we speak.
Actually, is snipping tool still a thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
but every time you open it, it's like snipping tool will move soon.
Really? It's been doing that.
Try opening it
since
right
I
now.
left Windows, and like, I don't want to
Are you on
risk
Windows
fucking
11?
up my. Yeah.
Then it might not be there.
No
I
way.
never used Windows 11.
It's over.
Snipping tool, let's go, baby. Oh, and it looks new. You
got a facelift?
Windows logo key plus Shift plus S to start a snip. I missed snipping tool. Actually, there was something about that, like, Windows frickin' 5 charm of snipping tool that just, like, the fact that you were on Windows 10 and it still opened something that looked like Clippy was about to pop up, like, that was amazing. So now they've Windows 11'd it, which I guess is good overall, but, you know, it's still... Windows 11 is very much like those shoes where... that Kanye started coming out with that were just a little too bubbly, a little too foamy.
What are you
like is it Yeezy
Yeezys?
Wave Runners? Like when they started looking like a
Oh my
tumor
god.
and
Like
all.
that one?
Yeah, like that one. We're looking at the Yeezy 400,
Oh
450s,
my
Yeezy
God.
450s, but even those aren't like the worst. If you keep scrolling, like you'll find some brutal,
ugly
brutal
Yeezys.
shoes.
These are just swollen, poofy.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Top 5 ugliest Yeezys currently on the market. Jesus wasn't walking in these.
I think I almost, like, I got kind of into shoes first year and stuff like that, and then I gotta say, like, it did really kind of fall apart. And I like...
The Yeezy foam runners, good god.
Let me see. I think that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Yeezy foam runners.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty tough out there. These days, I just go on, like, fucking Temu and buy whatever wide toe box shoe I can get for, like, $20.
Is Temu stuff good? Like,
Are
is
you
it?
giving
No.
up on...
Oh, it's not good. Okay.
giving up on toe shoes?
Oh, I still got my toe shoes, but, like, wearing toe shoes at work is kind of suspicious. You know?
Yeah.
Like, everyone's always going to see that. They also, because they have no support, walking on concrete all day in toe shoes can just be kind of rough.
Yeah.
But, like, the thing is, like, all barefoot shoes just have horrible construction. All of them. They all fall apart nearly instantly. So if they're going to fall apart, I may as well pay $30 instead of $100.
Yeah.
Is kind of my thing. The toe shoes, one of them fell apart in 3 weeks, which I should have done a refund on, but I needed those for actual reasons. The other ones, they're holding strong. A couple of years in, they're doing really good.
I only wear steel-toed,
Yeah.
and steel-toed lasts forever. They're amazing.
Yeah. I bought some fucking DeWalt shoes,
Yeah.
Great.
and the toe is like 0.5 millimeter wide. It actually, like, kills me.
There's some
So-
good steel-toe sneakers you can get.
Yeah.
They're great. They're fantastic.
Send me a link, because
Steel-toe
I've been needing to
sneakers.
buy some
I'll
steel
send you-
toes.
My
Yeah.
shoes are, well, not the ones I have right now, but
Yeah.
my usual shoes are steel-toed.
Oh, wow. Because I've desperately needed steel toe. I've been doing metal work
Yeah.
in just casual walking shoes.
I'm just really clumsy, so now it doesn't hurt when I hit
Oh, that's true. I have multiple times stubbed my toe so hard that my entire toenail has fallen off.
Good.
And like it doesn't happen all at once.
What the fuck are you doing?
Like
running kicks against a brick wall?
What?
Yes, I was running,
Yeah.
and there was like a stone that was cemented to the ground that I just jammed my foot into, and half my toenail popped off, and then the other half slowly peeled off over the next few weeks.
Toe shoes? That's wild.
Well, this was barefoot. This was actual barefoot. The toe shoes.
What the fuck were you doing?
I told you I was running. I kicked
With
a
no
rock.
shoes on.
It was okay. It was a fireplace. It was a fireplace. So
What?
it was inside. Like it was inside. It was a
Okay.
fireplace.
Okay.
And it, like I just forgot where the rocks were. You know, it is what it is. Sometimes you're toe punting stones. I'm only human. After all.
It took like 4 turns.
Okay. Let's talk about something of actual substance.
Okay. Sounds good.
Should we talk about the Air Canada strike?
Yeah.
Okay, so Air Canada says government must block strike if pilots' deal can't be reached. The executives of Air Canada have demanded the government step in and implement binding arbitration, forcing the Air Canada Pilots Union and its 5,400 pilots back to work before the strike can begin.
So what is binding arbitration? Because I keep hearing it for the rail strike had binding arbitration. This has
So
binding
the arbitration in a legal sense is when a neutral party mediates a dispute and forces both sides of the dispute to adhere to that decision.
Oh, so they decide on your
Yeah, so
behalf.
basically binding arbitration is the government steps in the labor dispute. Usually, the government will step in. Then it's just to say this is the outcome of the strike. Don't have the strike.
Though I think it's also important to note what binding arbitration replaces, because usually if a strike gets really bad for something big, it has to go to, is it the Senate or the House?
Probably the House.
It goes
Senate
to
doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes over there, and the people will actually have to stage a debate about the benefits and disadvantages of everything. And it also forces the government to show their position, because a striking party is the workers. So if they want to back the company, then they'll have to be there in a public office saying, oh yeah, we don't want the workers to get their demands met. And that can be very controversial because it shows it. Binding arbitration gives the political parties a bit less power, but also means that it is not in public view. It doesn't, the politicians no longer have to really state their policy.
I mean, there's been situations where, the strikes get bad enough that it's rough. I know Sudbury had a huge strike in the 70s, which all the miners were on strike, and that was 20% of the population.
Yeah.
And it got so bad that a chunk of them left Sudbury, and Sudbury declined as a city because of the strike. It went 8 months.
Yeah.
But this is before the strike even begins. This is nothing's happened yet, and they're already just stepping in.
Well, hasn't the Liberal government showed a willingness to just step in with binding arbitration the moment a strike drops? Because they did the same thing to the Teamsters during the rail strike last month.
I was gonna say, I was kind of a real doomer about the outcome of the rail strike for this exact reason. Was it showed that in that the strike didn't even happen. The company shuttered its own doors so the workers couldn't work if they wanted to. Yeah. And then the company effectively got their demands met by the government to immediately put a halt to it. And it would make just sense now for every company to do the exact same.
Yeah. That's why the Teamsters they're appealing the binding arbitration now.
Yeah.
Because they're this is a bad precedent for organized labor.
Yeah. I think I also think they should just continue with an illegal strike personally. But Bennett, what are the demands for the strike on this one?
Okay, so the demand for the strike on this one is salary matching with U.S. airlines. American pilots make on average 93% more than the average Canadian pilot. The wage gap between American pilots and Canadian pilots was only 3% 10 years ago.
It doubled?
Yeah.
Wow.
Most of that gain in salary for American pilots happened right after COVID due to a successful strike in the United States by their pilots.
Okay.
But the Canadian pilots now want pay parity with American pilots, or why not just move to the United States?
Yeah.
You know? The another thing of note is that Air Canada's executive compensation package has also doubled in that 10-year span.
Mysterious.
Yeah. Air Canada is also making money hand over fist and is setting profit records year after year. They have their highest net income this year. They had the highest net income last year as well.
They're making you said trillions or something?
No, it's
billions?
No,
like billions. Sorry, yeah, billions.
Trillions.
Sorry, that was...
They make more money than the Canadian government.
A quick little slip. No, they're making
keeps
billions of dollars, and they only have
5,400 pilots.
Yeah, they don't have that many employees compared to what they make, and also I believe the percentage of what they make in terms of ticket sales to what the pilots are getting paid per flight is 0.8% or something. I haven't verified these numbers, but we go on vibes on this podcast.
Yeah.
And doubling it would bring it all the way up to 1.6%.
Yeah.
And when you put it that way, it really in terms of doubling, sure, but double almost nothing, and it's still not much at all.
So Air Canada's executives have said that they are facing unreasonable wage demands from the pilot unions that it cannot meet.
Why would this do they provide logic on why it's unreasonable? No, okay. Yeah,
No.
of course, sorry.
The CEOs, whole point, one thing that I find funny is that the whole point of private ownership is the fact that you do not get to see what they're saying. That's the whole point, is that there's a certain level of things which is brought to, okay, this is more effective if these people get to work in the shadows.
Also, one of CEO of Evil Corp weighed in.
Yeah.
As we've said, whenever we've discussed a dispute between Canada's massive corporate overlords and normal people, they always bring out someone who's I'm the chief executive of Business Corp.
Yeah.
And my job is to advocate for business rights.
Yeah. We had an episode where there was the guy that stands as a representative for United Landlords.
Yes.
And it's why did you choose this job? Well, one is because they probably all pay you $1 billion a second. But I couldn't strap that label to me if you put a gun to my head.
So Air Canada tried it at this person, Goldie Hyder, chief executive of the Business Council, who said, Canada cannot afford another major disruption to its transportation network. A labor disruption to Air Canada would ripple through our economy.
Well, one, it wasn't even a labor disruption before, and it was barely even a disruption.
You're talking so I think what she's referring to is the WestJet one.
Oh,
which was earlier this year, right?
Yeah.
And that one, the government allowed to go on strike, they allowed the strike to occur. And, I mean, there was massive impacts on the... I don't know how big on the economy. I just know flyers had
But WestJet
impact.
also had to fold immediately, basically.
Yeah, they did.
Which is what Goldie Hyder is actually scared of.
If this is so scary, then maybe you should just give them the pay that they're demanding that they previously received. Crazy idea.
We don't remember much about the WestJet one because it was just such a surprise, and they folded. They won immediately.
Now, the Liberal government, I think, is more likely than not to come down on the side of Air Canada if other parties will allow them to.
Yeah.
Because the NDP has said they will not support binding arbitration, and the Conservatives have also said they would not support binding arbitration in this case. Huh. So Poilievre said, "We are not going to support preempting those negotiations. We stand with the pilots and their right for a fair deal."
There you go.
That actually does catch me off guard. I figure he wouldn't have said shit.
A worker, I thought he was
Well, I think this is also I think the Conservative Party knows that they can sort of get votes from union workers.
Absolutely,
right? Especially after the big high-profile confrontation between Trudeau and that guy in Sault Ste. Marie.
Oh, this is the steel worker.
Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah,
but
funny.
the rail one, they didn't say anything. They just kept mum about what their policy was.
I think Poilievre, he's like a competent politician.
Yeah.
So I think he recognizes that this is not a good look if he sides with the liberals.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta jump in again. I forget most of that exchange with a steelworker, but my favorite thing was the opening where Trudeau's just like, being a relatively normal guy, and he's like, hey, I brought some donuts, how are you guys? And the guy, before he starts just like going after Trudeau, is like, can I get multiple donuts?
Full hero alert. There goes my hero.
Just so strange. Just so strange. What a pivot.
And you know what? He deserves it.
Yeah.
He deserves those donuts.
That's insane. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Trudeau opens it, he's like, it's all chocolate glazed in here. Then he starts going off.
Yeah, it's just really kind of like getting nitpicky, I guess.
Old-fashioned plain.
Yeah,
there's like 20 old-fashioned planes.
The worst donuts.
He's like, what the
Trudeau brings the worst donuts.
I think that, honestly, I want to know what people, like, what all the donuts were like when they actually made them fresh in store at Timmy's and stuff. Because all the, like, plain donuts just are horrible.
Did you not go to Coffee Way in Kingston?
I did. Well, I always got Dutchies. Because I like raisins.
They had like
I don't want to expose myself
you went
too
to
much.
I
don't want to dox myself for everything, but I really like raisins, guys.
I don't think it's a dox. Unless you're like at the raisins.
I like raisins. There's apparently a liquor store that doesn't exist in my backyard.
You were saying.
But yeah, I did, and I want to know. I want to know what all those like donuts tasted like, because it must have been really freaking good. Because old fashioned, every time I get one of these, I'm like, damn, if only I could have had anything else.
There's donut stores here. You can just go to one. We'll do an old fashioned trip next time.
I'm on a diet. Maybe when we go to Cobalt, Ontario, guys, pay attention for our Cobalt, Ontario episode coming.
It's coming up.
Yeah, same with our Kissinger episode.
Remember that?
Our infamous Kissinger episode.
In one of the episodes, in the very first 5 minutes, we're like, watch out for our Kissinger episode coming soon.
Yes. I think we said that right after he died.
Yeah.
I think this was also initiated by one of our people one of our guests, Harrison, and I think he like brought that on. We were all like, this is a great idea. Just never touch that again. And now it's like, I would be down. It is super interesting.
Now that the dust has settled, was he a good guy?
Yeah, we're like, one, we're in Canada, so it's like we can't frame it as a Canadian thing. Mm-hmm. But also it's been so long that we can't be like, this is so important and topical that we should do it. So it's kind of tough to bring it back.
Maybe is a death anniversary.
Oh, yeah. When is that?
I don't know.
Damn shame.
When did Kissinger die?
Fucking, he's probably still alive.
If you type when did K.I. die, if you do when did K.I., the top thing, the autocomplete is when did King Von die?
November 29th.
November 29th.
It's coming up.
Holy shit.
We could
do
it.
It is coming up.
Do that, yeah. Watch out for our Kissinger episode.
Yeah, watch out for our Kissinger
episode coming November 29th.
Also, watch out for our Cobalt episode. Also, watch out for our new 1812 episodes.
Yes.
And whatever other specials we're gonna probably never actually get to.
It's a shame. Those probably were the greatest episodes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
We have to be able to record regular episodes before we do specials.
Yeah, actually, we're back. Yeah. As we say every time we record, we're so back.
We never even left.
Okay, well...
right, we're back to actual news, right?
Yes. Now, the NDP, of course, won't support interference. This would be the first break between the NDP and the Liberals since Jagmeet Singh tore up the Supply and Confidence Agreement.
The SACA, or also known as the CASA, the Confidence Supply Agreement, also known as the Supply and Confidence Agreement. The short of it was that a couple of years ago, the Liberals got a minority government. Mm-hmm. They needed another party to support them. Usually minorities, you beg one of the other parties to support you. Mm-hmm. But this time they made an agreement with the NDP that they will get all support in committees, which means that in committee meetings, you can't just have witch hunts against random Liberals if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And during budget and other confidence motions, the Liberals will get support from the NDP. In return, the NDP will get NDP policies passed.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a surprise because in previous coalitions, usually the junior party gets completely screwed over.
Sorry, that was my phone. It says it's Rich the Kid saying plug. Every time I get a notification, I'll mute that real quick. Plug. Plug.
But they, with a year-ish left on the election, potentially, the NDP has canceled the agreement. But, I mean, you guys heard the video. You guys heard him canceling the agreement.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Very reminiscent of Tennessee in 1861 is how I put it.
That's my first thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was funny because overall it was like, you know, you listen to a politician speak and you're like, oh, it's all right. You know, it's nothing crazy. They're just saying something. But there were a couple times where he was just like, oh, yeah, we need to, can't have the Liberals around because we need to win the next election.
Yeah.
What was the reason I gave earlier this episode?
Okay, so
that they're not going to win.
I'll defend him there a little bit. The Liberals are polling so badly, the NDP might be able to get second.
Yeah.
Which would be like, the Liberal Party exists to make sure the Conservatives don't win. That's their entire purpose.
Yeah.
So if they come third, they kind of lose their purpose.
Yeah. And if we're really lucky, we could get a two-party state.
Yeah.
Well, this would not be the first time, if they pull that off,
Yeah.
that the NDP has been the opposition to a Conservative government.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Jack Layton.
Yeah.
The thing which really messes with me, so that video sucked, to be frank. I mean, the audio was bad itself. The music was way too loud. He didn't do it in French, so the entire thing's English.
The way the music kicked in, when it was, like, no music, and then he starts talking about, like, was it Conservatives? And it gets, like, scary music.
It gets, like, epic.
Yeah.
And then it, like, he switches to what we're gonna do, and you get, like, a 2011 YouTube fucking tutorial song.
2007 corporate positive HR music.
Yeah. Like, I get that you guys don't have a ton of money. Like, you can do better than this for free.
You can just AI
pretty
generate,
readily.
man.
Yeah. Like, also, aren't they supposed to be like the young theory head thing? You have a bunch of people who are relatively young and have no life. Mm-hmm. One of them can make a good video, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're all consultants now, right?
I edit the audio for this podcast better than those fuckers, and I get like fucking 30 views on this.
We also get hate mail about the audio quality.
So it's the only mail, actually, not just hate, just the mail. The thing which I find so fascinating about this country is that this is the working class party at the end of the day, right? Labor.
Yeah.
This is labor. But even the Labor always talks about the necessity to protect the middle class, the ambiguous middle class. Biden, I listened to a lot of Biden speeches in the U.S. out of curiosity, and he talks so much about the working class.
Yeah.
Most countries, the UK, Labor still talks about the working class. Why in this country do we not talk about that?
Well, you have to understand it's because if you want to target the most people, you have to understand that we're all middle class.
We are,
all right?
Or
you can be homeless and you just say, I'm lower middle class, and everyone will be like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
It's not middle class. It's middle class and those working hard to join it.
Stick as 12 gauge. No, it's like the middle class is great because it does just obfuscate the lines for everything. And like you said, it should be working people. That is the whole goal here. And the whole point of working, like, middle class is to just, like, say, oh, yeah, if you're working but you're making a lot of money, you're actually just like the rich guys. And that's, like, kind of the whole point of middle class. Well, I don't get why he would do this, especially as the NDP being, like, the theory head party.
Yeah.
I feel like the middle class in Canadian when they talk about it, what they mean is... like the proletariat plus the petit bourgeois, small business owners, right?
Yeah.
Excluding like the bourgeoisie and aristocracy, and like the lumpen proletariat, like criminals and homeless people.
But like everybody feels like the middle class, right?
Yeah, because it's like a catch-all term for 90% of people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would also say like the NDP is like a social democratic party, so they're not necessarily like. Like I don't think it's too alien to them to advocate for petit bourgeois interests as well.
They took away socialism from their clauses, I think about a decade ago now.
Yeah.
So officially. So yeah, I mean they are the party. So in the upcoming by-election in Winnipeg, very exciting Monday. The Conservatives are running a union guy, and the NDP is running a small business, the head of Small Business Association in Winnipeg. Right, and this is an NDP seat, by the way. So this is like a very, very lot of orange people in this.
Maybe there's something to the idea that social democracy is the left wing of fascism.
Yeah.
Fascism historically was the party of petit bourgeois advocacy, basically. Mm-hmm. And now that's what the NDP is turning into, is the party of petit bourgeois advocacy.
Whoa. So maybe
we'll come back to France later.
Yeah. Maybe NDP will win then, if that's the case.
I honestly, that would be funny, because the second the NDP wins, I think that's the best signal we have that we're going into recession.
Whoa.
The NDP will win. We will immediately go into recession before they can do anything, and then the NDP is going to collapse and then have to go back to fighting for 40 years.
In 2015,
like Bob Rae style.
Yeah.
In 2015, when the NDP won in Alberta, before they did anything, it was announced they won, the oil prices crashed. Like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Sort of like how when Trump won in 2016, there was a brief stock market downturn.
Yeah. Nothing happened.
Everyone was just like, oh, the kind of crazy guy won. Is this gonna be bad? And then like 3 days later, they're like, no.
Oh wait, actually, I forgot we liked that guy.
Yeah.
I forgot that was our guy. Sorry.
Yeah, we've never been more chilling in the history of chilling.
The last things I want to say about this is that it's unlikely there'll be an election in the next month to 2 months.
Yeah.
But
you think in the spring we'll have one?
I think spring for sure. I think fall is also fairly likely, but like late fall, early winter. Mm-hmm. There's 2 amazing elections. There's 3 elections coming up provincially in the next 8 weeks, and the NDP has a lot of resources to share with their counterparts provincially, and there's 2 by-elections also happening. So I don't think the NDP has enough money to.
Now, running the small business owner guy, that's a like a tick in the secretly a fascist party column.
Yeah.
Having just like one party that is also all the provincial parties, that's a little more old school socialist, you know.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, the Bloc Québécois has said they're willing to work with the Liberals.
Whoa.
So.
Do they have enough? They have enough seats.
They have enough seats. They're bigger than the NDP.
Here's how the Liberals can still win.
I mean, it's kind of wild seeing, the Liberal, which is the old school sovereignist party, the old school nationalist party, working with the separatist party, but,
Actually, speaking of the Bloc Québécois, only one party leader was invited to the Democratic National Convention when Kamala Harris was confirmed to be the nominee, and it was Yves-François Blanchet.
Yeah. And he rocked it.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good there. Why? Why would they invite this
question.
separatist?
I couldn't find a reason why they invited this guy. I assume they're like, we need a guy who's not the prime minister because he's probably busy, not right wing, not left wing.
Like even I watched an interview with him. He's like, I'm not even sure why I was invited, but I was really happy about it.
Yeah, did they just pick like the biggest kind of wild card they could find?
I think they picked the biggest liberal that they could find.
Yeah, where it's like the person that has like the largest number of support that is not immediately recognizable as being a certain type of way,
Or not the prime minister.
Like, Americans would not understand it. The prime minister would be like, oh, America's with the liberals, which could be like a little bit of a thing.
Trudeau's hated
You can't do conservatives as well for the very same reason.
Well, I mean, also because the conservatives would just be like, no, we're not showing up to the DNC.
Yeah. And like, I guess it's the biggest position where it's like, oh yeah, this really could be anything and no one would know.
Here's another potential one. Mm-hmm. Kamala Harris went to high school in Montreal.
Yeah, she would be the first Quebecois president.
Maybe she is a Quebecois nationalist.
Latina's in control.
She went to Westmount High School in Montreal.
Mm-hmm. Maybe she would support the separation of Quebec from Canada.
Whoa.
We have to stop her.
Is America is trying to steal Quebec.
No, America's going to invade Canada, set up a collaborationist government in Quebec.
We need to stop her.
Occupy the rest of the country.
Who's against her? We got to support whoever's against her. We need to stop her.
We're gonna.
Who's running against her?
Could be anyone.
I don't remember.
Whoever.
I don't remember. But yeah.
RFK.
No, he dropped out.
Oh fuck. I wonder who he endorsed. I forget.
Probably the Democrats, because his family is a huge Democratic.
Yeah, they have history.
Yeah,
they have history.
RFK was the last major candidate to support universal health care in the U.S.
Yeah.
So whoever he supports is probably good for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
True.
He was also the last candidate to put a severed whale head onto his car.
Yeah.
What?
He's a lot of crazy
I knew
animal
about the
stories.
bear story.
Yeah. Apparently he went to like a whale beaching and then like cut off its head and tied it to the top of his car. And then he was driving home with his daughter and he made his daughter wear like a plastic bag over her head with like eye holes cut out so that she wouldn't like be breathing in the blubber or something.
Was the windows down?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, real talk. If you had a whale head in your car, windows down or windows up?
I would
On the car, windows up.
Okay. What song would you be playing?
What song would I be playing?
As a whale
Flying Whales by Gojira, probably.
Good.
That's a good one.
Good.
Shit.
Honestly, if I had a whale head, I would up that shit, strap it to like a giant like helium balloon, let it float
Get
the
a
whale.
giant helium balloon.
Look, if I'm stealing a whale head, I'm going all in, okay? And just have a flying whale head above my car. I could keep the windows up and not have to worry about it. Just go low and slow.
You keep the plastic bag off.
Yeah, exactly. I'd want to be screenshotted with my Jesus Christ, kill yourself, Spencer. I want to be pictured with my flying whale.
Whoa, Gen Z here.
Yeah, exactly.
Chat, is this real?
This reminds me of a time where I referred to my girlfriend as my significant other and immediately deleted Reddit. Sometimes you realize something's invaded your psyche so much that you can't handle it.
You know what we need is a soundboard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if we're all recording together, I could get us a little soundboard. We're hitting the buttons and we get like Oh no, I could just chuck it straight into the computer.
Discord has soundboards too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, back to recording on Discord. Some Franco-Ontarian can complain about my audio balancing again if I do that shit. Anonymous Franco-Ontarians. Well, okay. Let's skip a couple news stories that we'll come back to, and we'll go straight to what I think was point 4 on Poilievre, the NDP Liberal split, which we've already kind of covered, and Poilievre has just been kind of spitting. As he always does. It's a lot of like verb the noun stuff.
Stop the axe attacks.
Yeah, axe the tax.
Build the homes and stop the drugs or whatever.
Yeah, it's all verb the noun, which is, kind of fun. But he was also just like going hard on the NDP, and he's like, you guys can't be with the Liberals on this. You can't be with the Liberals on a split. And then let's do an election. So the NDP actually did split, which makes me think that part of the reason things are going so bad for Trudeau could be because he's the only leader that's not fucking right now. Like, they're all in bed together and he's out. So it's all falling apart for him. Poilievre and Jagmeet Singh pillow talk. Jagmeet Singh goes out of the coalition, right?
It's crazy how there was a leak, right? There's no other way to define it. There was a leak that he announced it a week before Jagmeet would do this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's something. There's something.
Well, to be fair, I mean, there might not have been a leak because I think we've been saying for a while that the NDP needs to disassociate its brand from the Liberal Party, which is a sinking ship.
I guess maybe they're trying to, because the Liberal Party is going down, but the NDP is not picking up much. So maybe they're like doing that not to like become more ideologically conservative, but just make it so that they have more of like a strong stance appeal. They think it's around the time to do that. And if the Conservatives are ragging on it and they're still being kind of like liberal bitch babies, it's going to be hard to come back from that.
Well, the Bloc Québécois is backing the Liberals.
Potentially.
If they do it, then I don't think we'll see an election until October 2025. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now Poilievre is saying that we should do an election. Jagmeet Singh should do an election. Not going to happen. I don't think.
I don't know.
I don't think.
Hasn't the NDP been out of money for 10
No.
Have they got money back?
They paid paid off their all their mortgages earlier this year.
Okay. I didn't realize that they weren't actually still broke as hell.
I mean, they don't have much, but they have money now.
But I feel like they're still not in the position where they would say, right now, it looks like the Conservatives are going to win by a lot.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like the NDP would want to not only separate from the Liberals a lot, but position themselves much better if they're planning on being the main competition for the Conservatives. And I feel like they would take a little bit of time for that.
Well, for what it's worth, the NDP has already officially announced they are going to vote against a carbon tax at all.
Oh yeah, they said that it was they said it was like regressive taxation on the poor.
Isn't it very much not.
Well, it has a very confusing scheme where poor people actually make a net amount of money because of rebates.
But you have to have enough money to survive till you get to the rebate.
Yeah.
I suppose that is true.
Yeah, but
so
like the carbon tax is a
regressive
progressive tax. And also like all the people saying like axe the tax, getting rid of the carbon tax, the vast majority of them are going to come out negative.
No, but like
is
I mean,
what
we talked about it. There's so much better way. Like it doesn't do anything except just take away money temporarily from people.
Yeah, like it doesn't seem to actually be a well-structured carbon tax.
Yeah.
And like the fact that there is even a rebate is kind of the reason why it doesn't work.
Well, it's supposed to like attack the rich because the rich are supposed to change their way of life, but they're not. So.
Yeah, exactly. We're also, like, at this point, not going to reach our climate goals.
No.
I feel very confident in saying we're not on track to, and the next government is probably going to be conservative, which doesn't mean it's going to go better.
Yeah.
So, you know, may as well. Actually, I'm kind of axe the tax now.
Oh,
I think gas is going to half in price.
We've been pro axe the tax since our last episode. Remember the gas tax or whatever, or tax my gas.
Oh yeah. Tax my gas, where we talked about how carbon taxes don't even work. That like aren't proven to be very effective.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that just you might as well not have it.
Exactly.
The best proof is like if you really try, you might have an argument that it slows things getting worse. And at that point, it's like, yeah, okay, just give us something more definitive. Put real policy in place.
Dude, just like make a factory to give everybody a new furnace which is more efficient.
Yeah. Create
jobs, save money on those furnaces. Just give it to them.
Heat exchanges on all new buildings.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Just things like that.
Yeah, there is really a lot you can do and mandate to make a big difference.
You do things.
We just really actually don't seem to care.
Yeah.
Like, I think I don't know. It's so easy to blame China and India because the sheer, like, raw volume is higher because their population is 50 trillion times larger than ours.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so easy for so many people to just blame China and India for all the carbon emission stuff for our small ass population that like it's easy to not make any progress there.
Now you say like the government should build this factory, should do that.
Yeah,
this country hasn't built anything since 1976 when the Big Apple was completed in Colborne, Ontario.
Yeah the last
That's
the
why
last
I salute
monument
it every single time I go by.
Actually, thinking of one of the biggest things they could do is just improve rail infrastructure.
Yeah.
Big train head.
They're doing that. It's going to take about 15 years, but they're doing it.
It's going to take about 20 years.
Yeah, it's going to take about 35 years.
When I was in Ottawa, I went to a CFL game, and I got 15-minute city tyrannied, right?
Classic Ottawa.
Yeah, so what happened was Ottawa's transit coverage is abysmally bad, and they're building light rail to address it. And they've been building it for several years, even though they were supposed to have finished it within like 1 or 2. That shit's not coming online for the next 10 years. Mark my words. But also, despite this incredibly shitty transit coverage, in order to encourage people to use it, they shut down all the streets near the Red Blacks game whenever there's a Red Blacks game, which means now you can't even really get to the game because the bus coverage isn't good enough to get there.
Yeah, my girlfriend lived in Ottawa for a while.
Yeah.
When they're building when the LRT was first built, they stopped all the bus routes in the area. Which was awful because the LRT used to break so often in winter. It didn't work in winter.
Oh yeah, they literally had derailments, didn't they?
The doors were not closed in winter. And so like she was just stuck. Like there's no buses. The LRTs don't work. So she hates transit now because of that.
It's crazy how Ottawa is like has more than 1 million people.
Yeah.
And it's like the only city with more than 1 million people in this country that has worse transit than Kingston, Ontario.
Yeah. No, Ottawa is insane how they actually decided, okay, fuck it, we're going to build transit infrastructure, and them building transit infrastructure made it actively worse. Like it's the only place that has ever happened. And the only place that could ever happen.
But it's also like where the government is. You think they'd at least do good stuff there?
Yeah.
But no.
Like my girlfriend hated transit as a concept for a long time because of her experience with Ottawa. She's like, I just hate subways, LRT. I'd rather just drive at this point.
Yeah, they changed all the bus lines so that people like didn't know where they were going, and they changed it to go to the LRT, which was shut down for derailments. So, like, you could now take a bus across a path that was supposed to go around where you want to go, but it also didn't really go where you want to go because they couldn't... You can't do that anymore. So it would bring them to a place that tangentially gets them where they're supposed to go, which wasn't working.
Yeah.
So your only option was to either, like, go way farther away, just directly perpendicular to where you want to go, or just, like, stay home. Or drive.
But speaking of the CFL, how was the game?
Amazing, great.
Big
Red
CFL
Blacks
guy?
destroyed the Argonauts.
Good.
Well deserved.
Good.
The Argonauts, for personal reasons, we hate them,
Argonauts.
but
Yeah.
also their quarterback, the fact that they still employ him after the controversy is a little bit...
What controversy?
Their quarterback just got off a 9-game suspension for gendered violence, and then
Nice.
they started him as soon as he came back. And then the game he came back was against the Red Blacks. He immediately threw a interception for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Good.
So people were happy, but
I mean, how do you feel about the future of the CFL?
what?
How do you feel about the future of the CFL?
Future of the CFL? I think it's looking up. I think actually it might eclipse the NFL within 10 years.
Yeah.
Because the NFL has voted to change its investment policy to allow private equity to purchase stakes in football teams.
These players are about to become so efficient.
They're about to become shareholders, but
Yeah. Oh my god, player shareholder. Actually, no, that would be
That
a good
actually would
idea.
be
Now people are now the CFL haters who say the NFL will still be ascendant because private equity is only allowed to purchase 10%.
Yeah, that's me. I hate the CFL for personal reasons.
the fact that they say that private equity can only purchase 10%, that's not a controlling enough stake. Consider that it's not that all teams will automatically sell 10% stake to private equity. Private equity can make demands to do these basically cash infusions to the owners of these NFL teams.
Yeah.
Which means I think there will be a general degradation of fan experience and player experience as a result.
I mean,
I don't remember the whole story, but I know this was like a whole just horrible ownership and all of that was a big reason why the Oakland A's fell apart, if I'm correct.
Oh, yeah.
As well as several other sports teams have like completely degraded because they don't treat their players well. They don't, and like the experience just gets worse and worse for fans, like you said. And this will just be like another avenue to do that.
I
didn't,
assume
like,
so.
Oakland really screw their team over.
Well, the Oakland Athletics have basically been torpedoed by their owner, John Fisher, who really wants to move it to Las Vegas, which he sees as a potentially more lucrative market. The A's might be the most movingest team in baseball. They used to be in Philadelphia, then they moved to Kansas City, then they moved to Oakland, now they're moving to Las Vegas. They basically go wherever the boom town is, and then they make money, and then they leave.
Yeah.
I think they're sort of like a traveling circus, so it's like makes sense that their logo for a long time was a circus elephant. But yeah, like the
One sec. How do I turn this damn cat toy off?
Oh, that was that. Okay.
Yeah, you
You
can
can't
see
just
it
read that
squeaking in the
sound.
fucking thing.
I thought it was a
Alright.
cat for a second. Is it the?
whatever.
You said whatever. It's
You're-
in the background
Yeah,
now.
So like the Oakland Athletic Stadium has been allowed to decay. They've shut off like several levels of it.
Oh my god.
They've shut down a lot of the internal like amenities and concessions. Like it's just falling apart. A lot of the seats are just duct taped together.
Yeah.
Like it's not taken care of. The janitorial staff doesn't clean it
Yeah,
regularly.
They're moving, right? Like it's official.
Yeah, like no one goes to the games anymore. It's I think they've had to move. The stadium is in such a bad state. They have temporarily moved this to the Sacramento, like college stadium.
That's not even like close.
Yeah, that's like
really
hours
far,
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading a thing like a year or two ago of the fans just like we literally like we can technically go to games, but it is genuinely like a horrible experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like not only is it expensive, but it is trash.
Yeah.
And it was
And also because it's so trash, even if you do show up, like the whole point of going to a game is there's a lot of people around.
Yeah.
You get to see something live, but it's like there's no people around.
These are like actual fans. Like these
Yeah.
are like the true loyal
Yeah.
Who are like killing themselves basically to be in this place, like putting their life at risk to watch the Oakland Athletics.
Honestly, this is only a matter of time. Like, the Oakland A's have always had a reputation for just the most extreme penny pinching.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally invented modern sports analytics so that they could field the cheapest possible team and still win.
Moneyball is gonna be like a fiction now. Like Moneyball's not gonna feel real anymore now that the team's gone.
Now, I will say, Kamala Harris went to high school in Montreal, but
Montreal A's
lived in Oakland.
Whoa.
So if she becomes president, we might see...
Is the Montreal Canadiens leaving then?
The Montreal Canadiens are moving to Oakland.
The Oakland Canadiens.
She needs to bring it back. That's what she's doing. Well, look, the CFL. Here's what I'm thinking. All right, we hire someone from this podcast, could be anyone, to completely computer plan the entire organization.
Yeah.
To make it not only, pretty fair, but just extremely riveting. Allow. All excitement would be computer planned, right?
Yeah.
And it would probably be the most efficient organization by far. Cheap tickets, just everything.
Well, what I'm interested in is that usually all the owners, right? They have different ownerships and various things. They do a lot of deals through that with a team involved. So the private equity could really change how a lot of the fan experience on what deals are offered, what different merch is pushed, and so forth.
Yeah.
So I am interested in where that will go.
All right, I was going to say it's going to just be trading cards, but I was like, wait a second.
That already exists.
Nothing happened.
They've already did that.
I'm kind of just have to take back my whole state. I was going to say it's going to be like subscriptions for a season and trading cards, and I was like, oh.
I can see that.
Subscriptions they already have season tickets.
Yeah, they have
already
season
have
tickets. They've had trading cards forever.
Yeah.
I'm kind of at a loss. I genuinely don't know what they're gonna do.
Do you have any ideas?
I think they might just start serving prison food at the games.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be awesome if it was cheap, man. If I could look,
they might just be like the prisons. They have like a punishment meal where it's just like a cube. Of protein. They're gonna start selling that at NFL games. It's gonna be $40. It's gonna be the only food in the stadium.
Yeah. There's gonna be like $20 for a Chud Light.
Yeah.
And every Chud Light is gonna come with a bag of crickets.
I know that. So Messi just got not just, but signed a massive $1 billion deal with what team is he with? Miami something. But point is, he's part of that deal is with Apple.
Yeah.
And what Apple's trying to do is trying to push Apple TV everywhere with that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate Apple TV Sports. See, what they do is they'll buy out. The Mets have the best broadcast booth in professional sports.
Yeah.
Gary, Keith, and Ron, who are amazing commentators.
Sure, yeah.
Every game they commentate is great. But then Apple TV will just buy Mets games, and they'll have the most atrocious broadcast room that does not know ball.
Yeah.
But I can easily see there's this move on how we experience sports. And I can see virtual reality subscriptions you can buy where you can have the VR headset at home and watch the game
have you seen those sports bars in the US?
No.
Where they're showing there's sports bars that have set up these gigantic wall-sized LCD screens that curve out like this, and then you sit in stadium seating basically, and they do a live footage from the game so it looks like you're sitting in the bleachers.
That's kind of dope. What they should do is they should have umpire cameras and stuff like that, and then a first base cam and all, and then people in the bar could every 30 seconds vote for where they want to be standing, and it would jump around. And you could also vote for replays on things. So let's say there's a close call at first base, everyone would be sitting there tapping that app.
Yeah.
And they'd be I want first base replay, and then it would show up across the entire bar, and everyone could just start fucking screaming.
That sounds like a horrific experience.
You do know it would be the most fun you've ever had watching sports.
I know
it would be horrible, but everyone would be so wild.
The flip side of that is, I know in the last playoffs, I'm pretty sure the last playoffs, the Edmonton Oilers, on away games during the playoffs, they used to allow people to come to the Edmonton Stadium and watch a virtual puck move on the ice.
Yeah.
And then you can see the actual game from the big TVs in the middle of the the stadium.
Wait, like...
So it's in the stadium. It's
Yeah.
it's in the hockey rink.
Yeah.
There's a little puck, which was like a virtual puck on the ice that would just kind of go where the actual puck in real life was going.
Wait, where were people? I'm so confused by this. Why didn't they just look at the real puck? What is going on?
Because it's an away game, so the actual game's in
Oh, okay.
Florida.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant at a game that
They
the
were-
Edmonton Oilers were playing.
Yeah.
That a virtual puck like hovering above the ice.
No,
They were watching the game from Plato's Cave.
So the games when the players were in Florida playing,
Yeah.
you can watch it in the Edmonton hockey rink.
Okay.
That honestly, that's kind of cute. I would never do it.
Yeah, you have to pay like
you have to pay like
cheaper
$50
tickets.
or something.
It's cheaper
I
tickets,
would
yeah.
pay $5 if they had loony dogs.
Yep.
I think that's
More sports needs loony dogs.
Yeah.
It really can only exist because baseball needs to sell 162 games a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
The-
Yep.
Man, that shit is... It turns out, like, I will go to baseball games. I don't like baseball.
Yeah.
And when there's a loony dog night, interestingly enough, I show up, ticket in hand, so excited to go see my favorite baseball team play, and I will be screaming in the bleachers like hell just because the food is cheap.
That the Blue Jays know that. They actually they have low attendance on weekday games because it's weekdays.
Yeah.
But they have an average of 10,000 more people on Tuesday relative to Wednesday, Thursday, and Thursday games.
Did they lose money? Why don't you just expand that?
They don't lose money because it's just Schneider hot dogs that
So
you
you should
buy in a
just
pack.
expand that then.
Yeah, they probably, the loony dogs are probably sold at approximately neutral after you get rid of, like, labor and all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, no, those things cost, like,
Probably
20 cents
yeah.
each.
There's labor, there's bread.
Yeah,
there's
electricity
condiments
cost, yada, yada, yada.
I mean, even if it's a lost leader, selling 10,000 extra
Yeah.
seats.
Yeah.
They're making so much money.
I guess the hype around it is the reason why they haven't expanded to Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, I'm sure the
Probably.
analytics are like, don't.
The
make
private
it more
equity
days.
firm was
Yeah.
like, no.
Yeah. No, yeah, but that... If only people realize that, like, I will go to shit that I do not like if you make the amenities cheap.
Yeah, that's the thing that, like, with sports is like, oh, the food is so expensive in the stadium.
Yeah.
If the food was the loss leader in the stadium, more people would buy food at the
Yeah.
stadium.
Yeah.
And, like, they're charging, like, what, $14 for a beer?
No.
Yeah.
Like,
More.
I know you're
More.
buying that
I paid
shit.
$16 for a normal Corona.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Like, I know you're buying that shit for, like, $2. If you're buying that shit at the same price that I buy it at the LCBO, plus $1 just for love of the game, all right? If you sold, like, so that would be like a $4.30 Corona or something.
Yeah.
If you sold that for, like, double what you paid for it, if you gave me an $8.60 Corona, I would show up to more games easily, and I'd go and I'd have a few drinks and I'd probably buy some food and it would be fun. Instead, I show up to games either getting loony dogs or fully aware that I'm not going to eat or drink anything including water for the next 5 hours.
Yeah.
I will crash out, I will take a nap. I'm not paying $14 for a beer.
yeah.
Like,
I regret that so much.
yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal, man. I gotta start smuggling alcohol into games. That's what I gotta start doing.
You either have to make the food cheaper, or they like the upside of the CFL being not popular is that you can like get crazy cheap tickets like midfield right beside the game.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be
That would be like hundreds of dollars even at a baseball game.
Oh, we should get into lacrosse. It's okay. Hockey has Vivalin. All right.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
That is a recent news story.
So sad.
In Trudeau's Canada, in less than 9 years of Trudeau government,
Yeah.
hockey has ceased to be Canada's most popular sport. It is now soccer.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
All right. I got one theory.
There's
It's
a
a good
few-
time
there's a
for
few-
it because it's
I mean, I have a
late
few
summer.
theories, yeah.
It's late summer. All right. You want to know one in the summer, outdoor field sports are going to be more popular overall. Like that's just like I don't know how they do all their data, but there you go.
I
Now,
assume the
let's-
question was, what is your favorite sport? Which
Yeah.
wouldn't really be that impacted by the
Yeah.
time they did the survey.
But what do you need to do to get a soccer game going? All right, so you need
Is this play
a
or
handful
watch
of
or-
people whatever.
Well, okay, but
Probably
people usually the source of why people love a sport is because they have played it.
That's true.
Yeah. It's like playing or watching. Like, if you watch sports, it's more fun to engage with it by yourself. Or, like, watching sports is more engaging when you play the sport. You can appreciate it more. So what do you do for soccer? You go to a field with a handful of people, and you bring a ball that's, like, $15, $20 or something to buy. I don't know, varying quality. Or you could just get any friggin' old-ass soccer ball. And then, boom, you throw a couple backpacks. Those are the goals. And then you can play soccer. What do you need for hockey?
Like
all right?
hundreds of dollars of equipment.
Yeah, hundreds of dollars of equipment.
Thousands.
I guess you can, like, just risk snapping your shins a little
Yeah.
bit or, like, all of that. But, like, you also need frozen ground. Outdoors always blows unless you have, like, people really putting a lot of energy into maintaining it.
Winter is not staying as long as it used to.
Yeah, like, winter ain't hitting the same.
No.
It's just not a very accessible sport fundamentally. Soccer, you just need one person out of like 20 to have a ball, not even a ball for a game, a ball for 5 years worth of games. You're pretty much losing money not playing soccer.
Now, I think the other reason why it's grown in popularity is because what you said about hockey has been true for like generations now.
Yeah.
But hockey persisted as the most popular sport just through like momentum.
Vibes, yeah.
But I think there's just been a demographic shift.
Yeah.
Soccer is the most popular sport worldwide. Hockey being the most popular sport was always going to not be the case eventually.
Disagree a little bit about that though, because a lot of the demographic shift is to new Canadians not coming from soccer countries. But I do know in general, a lot of new Canadians in general will put their kids in soccer because it's so cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But even going beyond that with hockey itself, getting into the sport is one thing, like the equipment and everything, but also all the scandals that have been happening just constantly about sexual assault and various like just horrible things constantly occurring. I think it's finally catching up to the sport.
Did we talk about how like hockey in small towns just essentially turns one guy into a god, and he will inevitably just like start assaulting women and everyone will cover it up because it's the only thing that their small town has?
By a guy that turns into a god, you mean like a coach or like
like a player?
Yeah.
Like some guy will become like massively famous at 16.
Yeah.
Before he's figured anything out,
Is
and
this
then
based
just
on a real person?
I forget who it was,
Okay.
but this was based on like
Okay.
3 people at one point. Yeah.
It felt really personal for a second.
Yeah. This is not someone I know,
Okay,
but just like I remember, I thought we covered this, but maybe it was just me chatting about this, and it was just like that happens in small towns.
Yeah.
Also, any sport that like gives you brain damage, the players for it are going to be a little bit crazy.
Yeah. And hockey's a messy sport.
Yeah. Hockey gives a lot of guys brain damage.
It's not just like falling. There's actual fights.
Yeah.
So that's wild, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for kids, a big part of reproducing a fan base of a sport is like kids playing that sport. For soccer, what do? Well, you go out back of school and there's a ball.
Yeah.
For hockey, you need like your parents to have a minivan. You have like 2 bags will fill up the entire trunk.
Yeah.
They have to like lug it all around. You have to dedicate one room of your house just to smelling like ass.
But also, I think a lot of hockey fans never played hockey, but there's just a cultural momentum of your parents were hockey fans, so they imbue hockey fandom onto you.
Yeah.
And I think like immigrants aren't coming from soccer countries, but the fact that they put their kids in soccer means those kids become soccer fans.
Yeah.
And those parents weren't hockey fans, so they're not imbuing like a hockey heritage onto them or something.
Yeah.
So hockey was always going to not be the most popular sport eventually.
The average cost, according to flowhockey.tv, the average cost for a year in playing hockey is between $2,000 a year to $8,000 a year.
And we know disposable income is at record highs, so I don't know how.
$8,000 a year.
Yeah.
Isn't like what is the median income?
Median income in Canada is like 40,000 or something.
Median family income in Canada.
Oh, so you're probably talking like 82 or something. It's been a minute since.
In Ontario.
What's up?
Let me look one sec. In Ontario, after taxes, the average household makes around $95,000.
Oh, okay. It's been some years, yeah.
So that's about 10% of your income for one kid playing hockey.
Yeah.
That's crazy. If you have 2 kids, it's over.
Now it's different if like you want your kid to be a professional player, because even cheap sports like basketball, which is really popular in the United States because it's like soccer, where you just need a hoop. And during urban renewal projects in the 80s, they were building tons of basketball courts because you could build them in a small area.
Yeah. And it's literally just like a small sheet of plywood.
Yeah.
And then a metal ring. And you can just duct tape it to a wall and you'll have a basketball court that will function for 10 years.
And yet, despite you not needing pads or like sticks or anything, like to get your kid to be like a professional baller now, it's like you still have to spend tens of thousands of dollars a year.
That's like every sport. Like soccer does that too, right? But like I mean, at this point, in order to become a professional player, you have to spend your entire life doing it.
Yeah. Also, like it's getting to the point where you need your parents to have been professional players.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing a lot of juniors and the thirds in pro sports now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that like a huge part of sports is, I mean, this has been a big thing actually in the gaming world. Is they're like, oh, well, we want there's two scenes for every game. There's the professional scene, and then there's the just fucking around having fun scene. And there is no relation in the sports. Like, they are two completely different sports that are just somewhat connected.
Yeah.
And it's like, in soccer, you can just kick a ball around with some friends. Basketball, you can just throw some shots with friends. There's little games like horse and stuff like that. It's nice and easy. If you don't really care about actually playing, you can kind of mess around, do whatever, play a little game of pickup with 4 people, and it'll be a good time. No one really cares that much. With hockey, it's enough of an investment that it kind of forces you to care at a minimum. If you're going to spend this much money on equipment, you better be trying.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the point of you're wanting a kid to play a game and they better be trying, it now fundamentally is taking away from the kid's enjoyment of that game. They're not allowed to just have fun.
It's actually hit the hockey world especially hard because right now Canada is going through a really bad time with goalies. There's not many really top tier goalies left in the NHL.
Yeah.
And one of the logical reasons for this is that hockey's super expensive.
Yeah.
All the parents forcing their kids to become forwards or other skaters because they can just trade around. There's more options.
Yeah.
Goalies are so much more expensive to train for because of all the extra pads. So Canada just sucks at goaltending now.
It's also you need a specific body type to be a goalie. It's a football lineman. I mean, the fact that hockey has been insanely expensive to even play at a casual level for decades now has also impacted Canadian representation in the NHL. It's gone from every MVP being Canadian to half being Canadian, and now it's there are more European and ex-Soviet MVPs.
Yeah.
It used to be a proletarian sport, man.
Yeah, you would just pick up a piece of wood and slap a little puck around.
You would go out there with no protection. For worse, I think. Not for better.
You used to...
But now...
And also, winters used to be way longer.
Men used to give birth on the bench.
Now if you go on the pond, you'll just sink.
Yeah.
It's not even about the expense of the sport.
In the early days, back when you needed a day job to play pro hockey at the same time. All those guys were coming from Quebecois villages that were frozen 8 months of the year.
It's mate, I've been going to a bunch of different fields around town to do my own sport, and every single time there's just a handful of random people just playing soccer, and whoever walks up, if they want to join they can, as long as they're joining 2 at a time so that both the teams are even. If there's more people, they move. It's the nets are 2 backpacks. They move them farther away or closer together based on the number of people. And it's I'm just some random fucking guy that's sitting reading a book, as I'm waiting for my friends to show up. And every single time I'm getting invited, and I'm I have not played soccer. I genuinely do not know what I'm doing. They're oh, it's fine. Just come on, kick the ball around, and it'll be good. You can't do that with hockey.
No.
You just can't. It's not as inclusive a sport.
Colorado ball hockey.
Ball hockey is extremely accessible. I used to play ball hockey crazy as a child.
Really? Yeah. What position?
Bottom.
I actually love I love playing goalie actually.
Yeah.
Despite being too small, because I was the only kid who could reliably do
Likes balls in face. Bottom.
Yeah, exactly. I was also a ball hockey goalie, actually. I was going to bring up the fact that I was a goalie for a little bit. But especially with ball hockey, the fact that you can't slide is really rough when you're actually playing. Like, if someone's got a breakaway, they're probably scoring. There's not much you can do about it.
The thing with ball, the reason I was always a goalie is because I could catch stuff like really well, and also I was one of the only kids who could do the goalie like lean down. Yeah. And like have both knees on the ground, which would like block the net.
Yeah, I remember a horrible game where I was on a pretty awful team. It is what it is sometimes. You're a kids playing ball hockey, and the other team was getting on average like a 2 against nothing on defense, and that was happening every 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I just could not do shit. All right, and they scored I think 20-something goals. And look, getting 6 goals scored, you could be like, damn, the goalie's not doing that well.
Yeah.
When they're scoring 20-something goals...
That's a defensive failure.
Yeah. That's someone else's fault. Maybe that's just cope, but it was a brutal game, and what can you say? Like, I did not want to become a goalie after that.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, even in, like, regular hockey, if the save percentage for the goalie is, like, below 80%, that's the defense's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, the opportunities are just becoming too good on the other offense that,
You guys do foot hockey as a kid?
Foot hockey?
Yeah.
You mean soccer?
Let's go foot hockey.
Foot hockey.
All right. Here's another idea. I've always said that one of the big reasons why hip hop was so popular was because you can mold it into any style really easily. You can have like really hardcore, heavy metal type.
Foot hockey.
Heavy metal type hip hop. You do like country hip hop. All right. Soccer. You have foot hockey, which is soccer with like a little ball. I'm assuming
it's a tennis ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a banger. Yeah. Honestly, sounds like a lot of fun. You can do soccer baseball, which is like a more accessible
read
baseball.
The first line. Foot hockey is a sport related to hockey when the only equipment is a ball.
Yeah. You skipped also known as hawker. I wonder why you did that. But yeah, soccer is incredibly malleable, which just means you can like, it's very easy to just have fun.
You play a lot of kickball as a kid? Kickball is great. It's like soccer baseball, I guess you also call it.
Yeah. I played a few games.
But they like roll the ball to you and then you kick it.
Yeah. I played a few games and it was very fun. I will say I had an absolute blast.
Yeah.
I did not have a good time trying to play baseball.
No.
Probably still
Actual
why I didn't
baseball
like
is incredibly difficult. Sorry, a coyote just appeared on the wildlife stream we have.
Yeah.
Running in the background.
Like for my cats, since I'm living.
How do
I not
Could
dox
be a
myself
fox,
more?
but foxes aren't really nocturnal.
I'm living in a building, so we don't have a backyard, but the cats like wildlife, so we have a wildlife stream going, and it's actually extremely exciting.
Okay, actually, yeah, that is a fox. His ears are black.
Yeah.
Little fox.
He's kind of tweaking, I gotta say.
I think he's looking for the mice that were running around on screen before this.
What do you think he's saying?
He's not locked in.
No.
He's probably thinking I'm so fucking hungry right now.
And he's gone.
I think that's mostly what wild animals think.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm so hungry right now.
Fuck, I'm so hungry and horny.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
He's pooping! He's pooping!
He was probably thinking, damn, I can't wait to find a dumping ground.
Then the fox was like, ooh, no one's around.
Yeah.
Time to poop.
I'm so glad I'm not caught in 4K right now. So glad there's no human equipment to catch me.
He's got a dog in the movie.
Anyways, we were talking about sports.
Yeah.
I think we need to move on from sports.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost. I don't even know what we were talking about.
We were talking about accessibility of sports and why soccer is more popular than hockey now.
Yeah.
Now, I think we have one...
Right. I was going to say we should watch lacrosse. Because watching lacrosse, I like a lot. I have it as one of my kind of favorite sports. Because basketball, it scores high, but it scores too high.
It's
right?
way too high, dude.
Yeah.
Like, the first 3 quarters don't matter.
Yeah.
Everyone scores like 100 points.
Yeah. It's like when you're scoring 100 points, I don't care that you scored
exactly.
2 more. You're just kind of watching things happen.
Yeah.
Soccer, the score is too
Too
low.
low.
Yeah, that is
Like,
true. I actually hate soccer for
Yeah.
that reason. It is so fucking
If I'm gonna
boring.
pay for a ticket, I don't want to show up to a game that could very well be 0-0.
Yeah.
Right?
Why do you think they allow alcohol in soccer games?
Yeah.
There's a reason.
I think the
for it.
perfectly scoring sports are baseball and football for me.
Hockey's for me.
Okay, I'm gonna say
Hockey
lacrosse.
is almost too low even for me.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say as
I
well.
like hockey, but mostly for the violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, lacrosse,
The
I
opposite.
think
Yeah.
I actually should check more, but I've been to a handful of lacrosse games, and usually each time there are around like 10 goals total in the game for combined either
Yeah.
side, which, like hockey, every goal really does matter,
Yeah.
and it changes things. And the pressure really starts to mount more near the end, but also it's not like an oversaturation. It plays very similar to hockey. So if you like hockey, the movement of players around the field is pretty close, and you'll probably enjoy lacrosse. Tickets, dirt cheap. Great tickets, because no one's watching it.
Yeah.
No one's watching it. So yeah, I think we have the next sport. The next sport
Let's
that
go
we
to
gotta
a
get
lacrosse
into.
game.
It is
Yeah.
Canada's national summer sport for a reason.
It is. And we can also engage with a national sport for dirt cheap, which you cannot do for hockey.
Dude, I was so excited to watch a hockey game,
Mhm.
and they were like $300 a ticket. I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing this. I checked out women's hockey. It was last year was their first season.
The
Yeah.
PWHL.
I would assume the PWHL is cheap. I was looking in October for a ticket in a random Tuesday in March.
It's
Yeah.
incredibly
Also
expensive.
$300.
Well, the reason
What the
is because the
fuck?
PWHL has only like 6 teams.
Yeah.
It's new, so people are,
Yeah.
are like, oh, I should follow it because it's
Yeah.
new. I think ticket prices will cool off like by like an order of magnitude.
I really-
within
They
5
should have
years.
started that shit underselling just to
Yeah.
get more people at the games.
No, but it's
and
full.
Work their
No,
way.
the
Oh,
games
it's
are
full.
full.
It's no, they're
Yeah.
sold out.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not realize.
No,
I
the-
thought
the,
people
like the
ragged.
last season was completely sold out.
Okay.
I think you need to give it 5 years for it to cool
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
I think
Unfortunately.
I'm almost certain I've said on this podcast before. I generally prefer women's hockey
Yeah.
for a watching experience. I find it better to watch.
Do you see the new team names?
Yes.
The Ottawa one looks-
Montreal Victoire, Toronto Scepter. What were the other ones?
Ottawa Charge.
Ottawa Charge.
The
Minnesota
Ottawa,
They
logo,
sound good.
the Ottawa logo is just so bad, though.
Yeah, that really does
I'm
suck
so
ass.
sorry.
It's like
It
Calgary.
looks like the Calgary
Flames.
Flames.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like garbage Calgary
Wait, show me
Flames.
the others. Show me the others.
Toronto Scepter to focus on Toronto's royal history and monarchy
Yeah,
history.
that looks awesome.
Boston Fleet.
Okay, I like it.
But speaking of logos, this is, by the way, great audio.
Minnesota Frost.
Yep, I
And
like it.
The New York Sirens.
The Sirens, I gotta say, goes hard.
Sirens
As
goes
a
hard.
team name, I also do actually
name.
really like that logo.
Okay, speaking of logos, the CFL hired Indigenous artists to redesign team
Yeah,
logos.
yeah, yeah.
Edmonton's and Calgary's go so insanely hard. Calgary, Edmonton.
Oh, man.
These are amazing.
The only one I don't like is Red Blacks. It just does not look
I, honestly, I fuck with it.
Wait, can you see the
I
tie
do
cats?
fuck
Can you,
with it.
Can you like zoom out the tie cats?
I can just pull up the full one.
Okay, I have been defending Indigenous art
Dude,
for
the
a
tie
long
cats
time.
look so sick.
I've heard a lot of people be like, "Oh, I just don't think it's like technically that impressive or whatever." I fucking
I love
love
the
it,
I
man.
love
good.
the like
Yeah.
the plains horse for Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
With like the makeup on it with the
Yeah.
handprint and stuff.
And like one thing that they did with these
Stampeders
logos is they
Elks.
like perfectly match the amount that you want in a logo. Like
Yeah.
a lot of logos go
That's
too
what I think.
minimalist. These are like they feel new and fresh, but they also feel like they have that detail of like 80s logos that just
Yep.
had that charm.
I think
They
the
just so
Edmonton
great.
Elks logo should literally just
Be
the
that,
official
yeah.
logo.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is one of my favorite.
Okay, show me the Red Blacks because you said you weren't feeling it.
No, Red Blacks
I
are-
think it's like
It's a
almost
Dreamcatcher,
trying to be
right?
a little too cool,
It's
but
no,
I
it's
like
a medicine wheel.
Oh, it's Medicine
Yeah.
Wheel.
it. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it.
It doesn't. I just.
I don't
It's
think
too
it's
simple.
as
Yeah.
amazing as the others, but I still like it.
Stampeders
So-
and Elks go insane. So,
So-
does the
yeah.
BC Lions.
This is and I'm sorry, I know this is an audio medium,
Yeah.
but this is the Calgary Blasty jersey, so it's their
Yeah.
horse jersey,
yeah.
and they made an indigenous version of it, which is just here. This is the indigenous version of it.
Whoa, it's the same.
No, they added the
They added
little,
a feather.
Yeah,
the
they added the feathers.
the markings on the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite jerseys.
Okay, I thought they were gonna go for like a fundamental switch up. There was an addition to the same.
Well, I mean,
which
that's the
I
same
do
with them.
like.
That's the same with that one too.
Oh, I don't know sports enough.
Those are all just additions.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sweet. Well, there we go.
The Elks one is kind of a redesign, though.
Isn't it just like the elk with more?
I mean,
Like,
I guess so.
It's like
Elks
maximalist elk.
logo. I guess. Like, the Edmonton Elk normally looks like this.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
that counts as a complete redesign.
Yeah.
So for my football team, I'm an Edmonton Elk guy. It's the only team which is owned by the government of anything.
Yeah.
It's owned by the government of Edmonton.
Formerly known as
Nice.
the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, you know, the government can't do
That's when
everything.
Stray was like, "What's the most racist team?"
Yeah.
Oh, Eskimos.
The government can't do everything right.
What was it? One of my favorite news articles of all time. The Washington Redskins has changed their name to the DC Redskins.
Oh, that was an Onion one.
Yeah. Absolute banger. Absolute banger. All right, what else do we have for today?
Anyways,
Saskatchewan.
we were going to talk about Saskatchewan.
Oh, yeah.
We were also going to talk about TTC Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, right. I thought I did a sexy transition for that when we were talking about the transit systems in Ottawa. So I guess we'll do the
Throwback.
Wi-Fi first.
Throw it back to TTC Ottawa.
Well, we'll start with the Wi-Fi. Where is it? Rogers is no longer.
Yeah, so
doing any-
Rogers was responsible for giving free Wi-Fi at some subway stations through the T-Connect program,
Yeah.
which has turned out to be a disaster. First of
Yeah.
all, no one is using it because it is slow.
Okay, first of all, horrible name from the start. As we get to the actual program, no one's
T-Connect was
using
made
it.
like in like the early 2000s. You know,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
different time. Yeah.
So since Rogers took over the contract after they bought out the company that used to do the contract, usage of T-Connect has fallen by like 65%. It doesn't really work anymore. It's hard to connect to. Like sometimes you literally just cannot connect to it.
Yeah.
And it's apparently vulnerable to like man-in-the-middle attacks and cyber attacks.
We should do it.
Yeah.
I'd actually be down to do
to do a cyber attack.
Yeah.
This is we should cut this
Keep this on record. Keep this on record. I really want a cybersecurity job right now, and it has not been working out for me. If I could get
Going
into a
for the
TTC
old
system, I might be able to get hired.
Yeah.
You're going for the old sort of cop TV show where an idiot kid hacks the police station,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, we need
It's
this guy as our IT guy."
Gray hat hacking is kind of like it is. It is a known thing.
I know
you
people who actually got a job like that.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
see it.
Like it's a known thing. It's always a little suspicious, but as long as you don't like hack into the system and then use it to gang stalk people, it's like you're probably going to be fine. You can just say your intentions, they'll be like, don't do it again.
And to be fair, he did give ample warning to the TTC.
Yeah, I've given ample warning.
You have issued a threat publicly to TTC.
They should have been listening to Theory Night and
Anyway, so
okay, I've tried to use.
This is how we get the podcast.
Anyways,
Yeah,
now
exactly. Get into the news cycle.
Exactly.
I think my conspiracy theory here is that Rogers intentionally biffed T-Connect because they are also the company in charge of doing the data on the subways and on the buses. So I think they want people to use the data instead.
Yeah. I cannot get any connection to anything whenever I'm on the subway or in any subway stations. So I'm glad to see that nothing is working on our public systems.
This is 6 hours ago.
TTC ending free public Wi-Fi service in subway stations at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's what we're
okay.
reporting on.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just like you're
Breaking news, guys.
Yeah.
6 hours ago, we were already on this shit.
No, the TTC is ending the T-Connect program because of its technical faults and a lack of public interest.
Yeah.
Got it.
The best part of lack of public interest, or dare I say demand or whatever, is that it's all there. But it turns out if you don't supply something, no one can buy it, and since no one's buying it, it means there's no demand.
Yeah,
crazy.
If you make the TTC Wi-Fi actually work, people will use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The reason people are not using it is not because the public does not want Wi-Fi in the TTC, is that they're basically isn't any right now.
Yeah.
Even with this program in effect.
Yeah.
And I think they did a budget assessment, and the TTC figured out it would cost $17 million to fix the problems with T-Connect, so they're just scrapping it.
I could do that shit for like $1 million easily. I'm calling
So you're going from threatening the TTC to also being like, hire me to do this for $1 million.
Well, they're one and the same. You know, I'll hack it and be like, your systems don't work. Give me $1 million and I'll do this.
They'll just be like, we know they don't work. That's why we're shutting it.
Yeah, I'm literally my plan is to just do like buy whatever mediocre Wi-Fi is out there and then just strap it.
This is what you should do. You should should give it to them for free.
Yeah.
And then after you give it to them, hack them and ransom $1 million.
Whoa!
Do a ransomware attack on the TTC.
After you fix the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. This could be like as big a scandal as the fucking what was that giant failure of a program with the immigration services that
Arrive.
Yeah, that could be as big
that
a
was
scandal
nothing
as
to
Arrive
do with
can.
immigration, by the way.
The contracts were given out through immigration services. I know that, or no, not it was border services.
Border services.
Okay.
Nothing to do with
bad.
immigration.
Yeah, immigration's been on my mind as I've been
Average
reading.
left winger.
Yeah. Look. Well, anyways,
We're gonna build a snowbank.
Yeah.
Make the United States pay for it.
Winter's gone.
Yeah, we're gonna make the United States provide the snow.
Because we don't have any left.
What was I talking about again?
You were talking about threatening and asking for a job.
Oh yeah,
in the
no,
TTC.
that could be like as big a scandal as Arrive can. Is it if the people that provided the Wi-Fi did a ransomware
attack?
And only we can fix it.
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah. It's like, oh damn, surely there's nothing here.
And you know what? No one would notice because it's like company after company after company being
Yeah,
contracted.
exactly. It would just be like 16 shell companies. Each one employs another person, which is just me with another like wig or mustache on. Well, we know as well, they didn't do like any validation of who was who. They didn't do any security checks. They had no documentation for who they were hiring and firing. I could do this, man. I could do this.
This reminded me of like an old story we were supposed to do about the indigenous business thing. Remember? That was going on. But
the indigenous business grants that were being scammed.
Yeah.
I thought we covered two sisters who were doing that at the university.
We
right?
did, but there's
Queens-
also like
Queens
the government has a lot of
people.
like indigenous grants programs, and a lot of them are not vetted. Like you don't need to prove status or anything.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that means that like a lot of people were just scamming these programs.
There really are times where it's like I sit there and I'll be trying to like steal some instant coffee or something, and I like start sweating too much and I like crack and pay for it. At the end.
Yeah.
And then like the entire infrastructure of our country is held up on just like the fact that no one really cares enough to break it. Like that's it.
But like grocery stores do care enough to have loss prevention.
Not really. Oh, well, okay, that's what we think. We also think that the
people
government cares enough to like.
I've seen people get arrested at Metro.
But I'm different.
This is a threat also to Loblaws.
Yeah.
Watch out for your instant coffee aisle.
Look, I'm coming.
It took them 5 years to find a guy who stole $2 million worth of laptops that they had footage of the whole time.
Oh, they don't know this because it was in our last episode.
Oh, right.
No! Was that the last or was that 2 episodes
That was the
ago?
last episode.
Such a banger episode, too.
That was great,
Probably
man.
the greatest episode ever.
That was great. Oh, that's a shame. I kind of want to cover that again because that's not going to get its own story, right?
The London drugs incident.
Yeah, the London drugs incident.
Yeah, a man who was employed by London Drugs, who felt slighted by the wages he was receiving and also needed money to pay for his medical debt.
Did he actually?
Yeah,
he worked for a drug company. Wow, that's really rough.
Yeah. And he was working as at the warehouse for London Drugs, and he managed to steal $2 million worth of laptops over at least 2 years.
Yeah.
They had him on camera the whole time.
Yeah.
They finally busted him. He had to pay. He made $1 million off this scheme, and he had to pay $750K and return the remaining laptops.
So $250K over 2 years. That's a
well above average salary.
Yeah, double median salary. That's doing incredibly well.
Well, I'm assuming he had to lose the rest of the money. There's no way the judge was like, okay, you can keep that.
I assume he just didn't. He'd already spent the money and didn't have $1 million to spend.
So here's the real tragedy: is that for some reason, the store keeps 2 years worth of footage, which is pretty much unheard of. And but also there is hope at the end of this story, which is maybe they only keep 2 years of footage, and maybe he's actually been doing this for 5 and has made like $7 million off of this scheme.
Well, we can only hope.
We can only hope. We can only hope. I hope to join the ranks of being just an open criminal soon, and we'll use this recording as proof of the start.
It's not a criminal.
I have not done any crime or stolen any instant coffee up until this moment.
It's not a crime if you're telling them in advance. This is consulting. You're testing their system.
That's true. That's true. Gray hat.
Thank you.
Gray hat, just robbery.
It's more like a threat than an admission.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take this not as an admission, but as a threat.
I am always 2 steps ahead.
Anyways, you want to talk about the Saskatchewan?
Oh, right.
It's actually
So,
Saskatchewan.
yeah, this is Saskatchewan. There's actually a relatively sad story here, so I'll try not to laugh for the first 30 seconds, which is pretty bold for me. But essentially what happened was there was a incident in a school where a girl set another girl on fire, like poured just flammable liquid gas on someone and lit them on fire, and she got a bunch of severe burns, and a teacher also was injured with burns when trying to help, and I believe it stated vaguely that other people around were injured as well, and that's the very rough part of the story. But what happened was the education minister in Saskatchewan came out and said, you know what, I'm just really glad that it wasn't worse. While the teacher and I believe the girl were still in the hospital. Which is like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
A very Norm Macdonald response to that.
Yeah,
case.
truly.
At least he sees a bright side.
Yeah.
The worst part of this kid lighting the other kid on fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's the hypocrisy of this.
It's the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you can say that about everything.
Yeah.
Is, oh, I'm just glad that this wasn't worse. You know, it's the biggest cop-out response of everything.
Oh my
you
God.
know, like any historical event you could say that. Like,
Well, Saskatchewan has had such an incredibly interesting and horrifying political year as a whole.
yeah,
I mean, there's this incident with the education minister, which is just wild.
yeah.
There was, earlier this year, there was an internal fight inside the ruling party, the Saskatchewan party, where the...
Is it still led by Brad Wall? Or
no,
is that
it's Scott Moe.
Brad Wall, by the way, father of country star Coulter Wall.
Yeah, which is wild. That's insane. So, quick thing is that Saskatchewan has the Saskatchewan Party, which is a coalition of Liberals and Conservatives to defeat the NDP back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ruling party.
Sort of like the opposite of like a popular front.
yeah. Interesting also fun fact about Saskatchewan elections. It's like it's the prairies. They don't have much to do, it seems, out there.
Yeah.
So last election, 10% of all major candidates had a DUI.
Classic.
And the premier has killed somebody under the influence.
Yeah.
So if you look at like the top 50 counties in the U.S. by like binge drinking, 40 something of them are in Wisconsin, and then the remaining 10 or so are just in the surrounding upper Midwest states. They don't do anything in those flat places.
This is a map for you. 50 drunkest counties in the U.S.
Whoa. Holy moly. Now, was Saskatchewan also the place that was just like, all trans people are going to be put on a list?
That was New Brunswick.
That was New Brunswick. But Saskatchewan came second for that, so they did do that as well.
Or I thought Saskatchewan was actually implementing that
Saskatchewan was the first one to call the notwithstanding clause to make sure they can put them on the list.
Yeah. And I think they were actually implementing that, like, starting about now. They were...
Yeah, September.
If you want to do anything related to your pronouns, you get put on a list and your parents get notified, which will surely help the home life of the famously great at-home queer community.
And the Saskatchewan's also a place where Premier has confirmed they're going to look into chemtrails and see what that means. All right. This is also a place where...
Stop looking into the sky and look into what's in your Guinness can, all right?
This is a place where one of the ministers was caught bringing guns into legislature.
Well, I'll read the headline. CBC, security staff alarms when Harrison came into Saskatchewan legislature. This is not the Harrison that we have on the podcast. Then Harrison came into Saskatchewan legislature with a gun, wearing camouflage, email says. I think ours is more interested in the gun than Saskatchewan.
Let's not say that. People don't know the context of that quote.
But it's an unfortunate place where I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with the education minister. I'm pretty sure this is one behind the trans stuff too. I mean, the schools are dealing with, right?
Oh yeah. That would make.
But it could be worse.
It could be worse, of course. It could be worse.
I'm just glad it isn't worse.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's not worse.
We're gonna use it every time.
I really hope it sticks around.
If this podcast episode ever makes the air.
Okay, this luckily since it's all recorded, I'm pretty sure I can just balance this on Audacity. Bleep out the points where I dox our friends, and then and then move forwards from there.
I guess we did dox someone last time as well, so maybe that's why.
Did we?
Remember the drones?
Oh yeah, we talked about a guy we actually knew.
Yeah.
Well, okay. To be fair, we could say we just found that guy through startup culture.
Yeah.
We
also didn't really say anything about. We didn't say his name.
Yeah.
I don't even know his name.
I guess I don't know him. I guess the fact that we don't really know him.
You've met him multiple times.
I've met him?
Yeah,
he's at Hoka.
Yeah, he was at a party we were at. Remember he asked buy your jacket or something?
He was at Hoka.
No, I don't remember.
He's like the sibling of someone else.
Yeah.
But
was that the Hoka where I...
that was the Hoka with the police drones.
Yeah, that was.
Remember we were at a party and the police
I wonder where they got those from. Damn, I did not realize I knew.
Also, this guy is sort of like a voluntarily a public figure.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that big a deal to talk about.
That's true. Yeah. That is true. He's got some banger LinkedIn posts, which are all satirical with bangers.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
I think I need to start going hard on LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure.
Just go satirical. Yeah,
I think it could be very fun. I'll
endorse you.
I want to do that thing where it's just I walk into hotels, say I was in one of the rooms and just get the continental breakfast. I remember that was a banger, and everyone's just you are stealing, and he's like, I'm hustling. I'm just hustling, and you wish you could have the same grind.
There needs to be more bullshit on LinkedIn so that it stops being taken seriously and ceases to have any power over society.
Yeah.
Sort of like how Twitter's power over society was destroyed by Elon Musk buying it and it falling apart.
Yeah.
LinkedIn has too much power, and what we need are more like those that Naruto guy who's yes, the CEO talking about his wife sleeping with another CEO.
That's me.
He was talking about me.
Yeah.
But that guy's
here's how he taught me about B2B sales.
Yeah. But that guy's an actual info. He actually does talk about his business, which is wild. He's also the guy who sleeps with his employees' wives as a threat. But
no, I think that LinkedIn is probably the best positioned for the future of social media because it is unkillable. Because of the fact that no matter how bad it gets, it's always going to have this thriving AI business thing that pretends it's serious.
Yeah.
Where other social medias could theoretically be replaced by another unserious social media, which is proving false because it just doesn't happen. But LinkedIn is the only one in its zone, and no one else wants to go to that zone.
Yep.
I think it's, I hate LinkedIn. Everyone does, but that's what makes it so resilient.
LinkedIn is like the discussion board for a university course.
Yeah.
Yep.
But everyone has to participate.
Yeah,
world.
You have a mandatory one post for every 3 weeks that you just have to get out of the way.
Yeah, fucking hate that shit. I bet the creators of LinkedIn probably even regret it. That's why there's not going to be a LinkedIn killer.
Yeah.
Because no one's like, oh fuck, that was such a bad idea.
Well, I think
we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, I think we're about caught up. Watch out for all the specials coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if any of them ever happen.
Maybe Kobo will be our first video one.
Actually, yeah, I'd be down. I think it's time to start associating my actual person with this extremely dubious podcast.
You literally put 2 threats in this one podcast.
Yeah, I put several threats in this podcast.
We should go visit Sudbury and tip the nickel over.
You actually run out of town. For like 60 years from now, you're just being banned from the city.
Alright. Okay, guys, we're going to Sudbury in 6 weeks.
To tip the nickel over.
We're gonna tip
This
the
is your
nickel
warning,
over.
your final warning.
We're not gonna be there earlier or later. Only check for us in 6 weeks.
It's gonna be the ultimate coin flip.
Yeah.
Heads or tails? Call it now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We will. Look,
Yeah, actually, that's what we should do. We should go on
Yeah.
social media, like Sudbury next door.
Can we get
And we
like
have like an
Bet24?
ominous countdown. And we're like heads or tails. Call it now. And at the end of the countdown, we knock over the nickel.
Canada only, region locked, put it on every single sports betting site. The ultimate heads or tails.
No, you hack the TTC Wi-Fi with it.
Oh,
If your device connects to T-Connect, you're like ransomware blocked. And it's just like the heads or tails. Call it now. The ultimate coin flip. October 5th, 2024.
if your phone is open and searching for Wi-Fi, it will automatically connect to your phone. You'll get an Amber Alert that says heads or tails.
Tails, call it.
Oh my god.
That might be how we get this podcast famous.
It might just be.
The hacking and the coin flip.
Yeah. This podcast is getting infamous. One way or another. Actually, nah. Here's another horrible thing this podcast could do. Wait, there's a giant coin in Camp Elford.
Yes, Campbellford, yeah. The toonie.
Yeah. Heads or tails too. Heads or tails too.
Honestly, I feel like once we've tipped over the Sudbury nickel,
put
they're actually going to take the threat seriously and like put police on every giant coin in the country.
Giant anything. Giant the goose and Wawa.
Yeah.
Bodyguards. Surrounded. Military right there.
Mm. Wait, how many coins are there?
Like,
How many giant coins are there
in
across
the
Canada?
in the original pictures of the Sudbury nickel, there was 4 coins.
Okay.
But I don't think they're there anymore. I think it's only the nickel and the big toonie.
Big
There's also a
nickel
dime
is-
in
Holy fuck,
Lunenburg.
this thing's
All right.
big.
We
I'm sorry.
Heads or
I
tails
feel like a
for you?
19th century person. I just opened the big nickel Wikipedia page. I saw 9 meters. I'm like, holy fuck, this thing's big.
Yes, sir.
Like a 20th century person in a tourist crowd. I fell for it.
9 meters, man.
I fell for it.
It's
That's-
I hate to say it.
It is fucking
It's
big.
not.
Yeah,
It's
it's
big.
fucking
It's not
big.
as big as you think.
It's 5. It's 5 times me, man.
It's big. When you go to it, you're like, it's
Holy shit!
It's
That is
small.
exactly 5 times me.
We're just doxing your height now.
Plug. All right, we've said too much. Bye, guys.
Bye.